Welcome to the world of exploration. Welcome to the world of learning. Let's start exploring. Let's start learning. This is your very own educator, guru, teacher, philosopher, guide, mentor, preacher, facilitator, one and all. And this is the one-stop destination that is English Gurukul, wherein we all can bloom and blossom together, right? We can connect with each other and bloom and blossom. And this is the only and one-stop destination for all of us to meet and to interact with each other and to learn a lot, right? So what are we waiting for? Let's get started, right? So first and foremost, I would like to discuss these questions from your A Thing of Beauty, which is a beautiful and profound poem which is written by John Keats, right? So I'll discuss the 7th question. I'll start with that, right? So let me just just give me a second. Yes, so we'll start with this. So analyze the myth of Endymion in the context of the poem. So you need to analyze what the myth of Endymion, right, in the context of the poem. So the poem is an excerpt, that means a short extract from John Keats' first epic, right? So it was an epic, right, from his first epic poem, Endymion, which was published in 1818. So this is very important, right? It was first published in 1818 and it was his first epic poem. The title of this poem is taken from the very first lines of Endymion according to Greek mythology. So we get to see the Greek mythology also over here, that how Greek mythology has been made use of. So Endymion was a handsome young shepherd who lived on Mount Latmus, right? So he lived on Mount Latmus of Asia Minor, right? He was in love with the moon goddess Selene, who was also known as Cynthia. The enchanted shepherd resolved to seek her in his admiration. This poem echoes the pleasure of the shepherd as he wanders through the forest and finds pleasure in beholding the beautiful sights of nature. So what do we get to see? That this poem echoes the pleasure of the shepherd as he wanders through the forest and finds pleasure in beholding the beautiful sights of nature. That beauty can create joy in the soul. So very, very important that how beauty can create joy in the soul, right? So how beauty can, just give me a moment, that how beauty can create joy in the soul that will last not only for a while but will last forever and ever and ever and ever, right? Is what is conveyed in the poem. So the nature with its beauty, the sun, so we get to see the nature with its bountiness, right, with its beautiful elixir, right? So how do we see that? So we have the sun, we have the moon, we have the daffodils, and that gives life a new meaning and expression and significance, right? So clear? I hope it is clear. Now we'll move on to, because we have to quickly cover, so we move on to the next question, that is question number 8. So you have to analyze the poetic devices. As we know that poetic devices act as a core in any poem, right? So you have to be thorough with the poetic devices, and because in poems that constitutes and is an imperative part of the poem, right? So because they act as figurative, they are the figurative, they are the literary devices, right? They adorn any language, so they will adorn the poem too, right? So yeah, and you need to analyze the poetic devices used in the poem. So the poem is rich in images, and the use of various poetic devices. Metaphor has been employed in moves the ball. So moves the ball. So metaphor is implied over there. Then where are souls steeped in sadness and hopelessness are compared to dead bodies covered with a shroud. Now moves the ball, it's basically it's referring to the sadness, or it's referring to the sad part where our souls, they're steeped in sadness, they're uh, they're just uh, lying in sadness, right, and hopelessness, that nothing can be done, right, are compared to dead bodies covered with a shroud. So that is what it means. Then in the metaphor, immortal drink, a feeling of immense joy. On the contrary, we get to see that how when we talk about immortal drink, a feeling of immense joy has been compared to a drink that flows from the heaven's brink, right? So like an endless fountain there is, like an endless fountain there is. So we get to see that. So a feeling of immense joy has been compared to a drink that flows down from heaven's brink like an endless fountain. So comparison has been drawn, right? Then we get to see there is use of alliteration in noble natures. So the sound of n has been repeated, right? NN, the consonant sounds, right? Simple sheep, noble natures, simple sheep, cooling, covert, right? CC, right? Again, so these are the consonant sounds which are used at the beginning. So when the consonant sounds are used at the beginning, it is alliteration, right? So the poem abounds in the use of imagery too. So we do get to see imagery, we do get to see alliteration, we do get to see metaphor, right? So these are the major ones. Apart from it, if you find out any other or I'll be explaining poetic devices too to you guys. So for that you have to watch another session, right? So the poem abounds in the use of imagery, as in the flowery bands. So we get to see that how in flowery bands we can actually imagine. So that is why it is called a use imagery, because you can actually imagine flowery bands, right? Daffodils also flowers, also you can imagine, right? With the green world they live in, the green world, that is the forest, or the the environment that is green, you can actually imagine that clear rills, the waterfalls, you can actually the clear streams, actually you can imagine that as well, and endless fountains, right? You can imagine that as well. So that's why imagery has been made use of over here. Then we move on to the ninth question, right? So then we move on to the question where how yeah then we move on to question number 9. Over here we get to see that a thing of beauty is a joy forever. This is what John Keats says in the poem. Do you think in the present times of acute stress, which is very very important, because in today's era we get to see that how there's a lot of stress, because there's a lot of stress in there's a lot of stress, there are a lot of wars that are taking place, a lot of violence is there, proximity to, and we do get to see that because of acute stress and violence, proximity to beautiful things can lead man to lead to everlasting happiness. So a thing of beauty gives us permanent happiness. When we look at objects of beauty, we tend to feel happy, right? When we look at objects that are beautiful, we automatically tend to derive happiness, we automatically tend to be elated, right? So and lasting impression. So obviously when you look at some beautiful object, when you look at some beautiful thing, what it leaves an everlasting impression. For example, if you have gone to Malaysia or London or America or Canada or Austria, I love Austria, I want to go over there, or Nainital or Shimla or these places. So you get to see everlasting you will come back, but the memories, memories will stay forever, forever, ever and ever, right? So you will be in that uh, you will be in that oasis of uh, a beautiful oasis, that the vivid image, the vivid memories that you created, right, that were woven, right? So yeah, then we get to see in the present times of acute stress and violence, the objects of beauty attain even greater significance. So, especially in times of acute stress, when there's a lot of stress and violence, the objects of beauty attain even greater significance. So now we get to see the importance of beautiful objects. How? Because we get to see, we know that beautiful objects are very very important for us, because we actually try to escape. So when we try to escape from the you know from the stressful life, or from the wars that are taking place, then we tend to focus on beauty. So when our mind is anxious and troubled, the very sight of beautiful things often comes as a relief. So when we are troubled, right, when we are anxious, right, the very sight, the moment you will have a look at a beautiful thing. For example, I find this ring to be beautiful, I find the flower to be beautiful, daffodils to be beautiful, the rills, the stream, the beautiful rills, the streams, the waterfall, right, um, the mountains, the sun, the moon, everything, right, to be very very beautiful. So they provide us with comfort and happiness for the moment. So the very sight of beautiful things, so you will remember, like if you have visited these places, like the places that I've mentioned, so you will come with the memories, right, and you will come with the memories that provide the kind of comfort and happiness for a moment. But that moment only will provide you with immense happiness. So appreciating beautiful things is like appreciating God. So when you appreciate something beautiful, you actually appreciate God Almighty, because Almighty or God is because our Creator has created something that is beautiful, and you're appreciating Almighty's creation only. So you are basically appreciating Him, right? So who has bestowed them upon mankind as a gift, so that we can derive happiness and solace from them. So we can derive happiness, we can derive solace from them. Proximity to beautiful things, that means being closer, being near to beautiful things, brings us closer to the Creator. So it actually, the more we are, we are in proximity with beautiful things, we actually get closer to the Creator, to the Almighty, in whom lies the ultimate power to grant us relief from all anxieties. So and He, our gods and goddesses, they have the power to grant us relief from all the anxieties, from all the worries, from all the troubles. Therefore, it is sure to bring everlasting happiness at all times. So, therefore, it is sure to bring everlasting happiness, right? At all at all times, right? Now, let's see. First, let me. Now, this is also important. This is also important. Explain an endless fountain of immortal drink, right? So this line is taken from John Keats' poem, A Thing of Beauty, that beauty is everlasting. That beauty is everlasting as it creates an eternal joy in the beholder, right? So beauty is everlasting because it creates an eternal joy. That eternal joy is there in the beholder. It is an endless fountain of joy. So it is an endless fountain of joy that is immortal as a drink pouring down on us as a water of joy from the edge of heaven's cliff, right? So very, very important again. So this line is taken from John Keats' poem A Thing of Beauty, that beauty is everlasting. That means it will last forever and ever, right? And as it creates an eternal joy in the beholder, it is an endless fountain of joy that is immortal, as a drink pouring down on us as a water of joy from the edge of heaven's cliff. The eternal joy is like a bliss of heaven on earth. So the eternal joy is like a bliss, it's like a blessing of heaven on earth, right? The poet here says these words in order to explain the nature of the pleasure and joy that is created when a beautiful object is seen by a beholder. The poet affirms, the poet is over here affirming the truth that beauty is not ephemeral, right, but eternal. So beauty is not ephemeral. Ephemeral means temporary, like, right? Clear? Ephemeral means that lasts for a short period of time, but we are talking about it being eternal. So we are talking about that will last forever and ever. That means everlasting, right? So the poet here says that these words in order to explain the nature of pleasure and joy that is created when a beautiful object is seen by a beholder. The poet here affirms the truth that beauty is not ephemeral but eternal. The pleasure we receive in perceiving a beautiful object is a kind of a gift that is worth treasuring. So the pleasure we receive in perceiving a beautiful object, in seeing a beautiful object, is a kind of a gift that is worth treasuring as a joy. As we get to see, the joy removes the gloom. Whenever you must have seen that whenever you are happy, whenever you are elated by seeing something beautiful, if you see a beautiful car, you get that happiness. If you see a beautiful stream, a beautiful river, a beautiful ocean, a beautiful lake, a beautiful mountain, a beautiful terrain, a beautiful if you see a beautiful flower, right? Anything, any raindrop, anything that you find to be beautiful, whether it be, basically we are not talking about materialistic things, but if you want to relate, you can relate with, with any kind of phone that you were willing to have, or any kind of laptop, or any kind of MacBook, anything that you were willing to have. So when you find something pretty, something beautiful, that actually kind of removes the gloom or sadness that is there in our minds. So we find it to be, so then we get that inner sense of satisfaction and happiness too, right? Clear? Then we move on to yes, Keats had correctly said that a thing of beauty is a joy forever. I really felt it yesterday when I was trekking across the Himalayan ranges. So over here, like for example, somebody has given the example, right? So for example, you can take trekking as an example. So my group leaders just wanted us to take us to hidden location near our base. Initially, we were also suspicious, so but soon the pleasure of the picturesque, we viewed. I cannot express in words. So picturesque means very beautiful. The detour from the occasional trekking, the detour from the occasional trekking took us to the lakeside where innumerable birds had flocked to drink water, right? So yeah, birds also very beautiful. You can see can you hear their chirping? Yeah, you can. So yeah, the chirping also, the sounds also, so the small lake in the middle of the forest, surrounded by wildflowers and daffodils flowing in the wind, is an image I can never forget. So these are the images, right? So basically imagery, and the sounds also, right? So the clear water was shining as the sun was almost overhead to us. The majestic view filled me with pleasure, and all the tiredness we felt faded. So you get a glimpse over here through this example that how the majestic things can actually fill someone with pleasure, and how this is a real example that how your exhaustion or you being tired, how that actually gets uh, eradicated totally or erased, right? Because the tiredness we felt faded almost, right? Instantly, instantaneously, instantaneously, the peace and serenity of the place was almost non-broken, except for the occasional cooings and chirpings of the birds. So the peace, basically, it's not broken actually. Chirping and cooings of the birds, it's actually very beautiful. So the peace and serenity of the place was almost non-broken, except for the occasional cooings and chirpings of the birds. How I wish I could have stayed there longer, if not forever, away from the rush of modern life. So this is similar to what I gave you as an example, right? Then coming to this question also, we'll do this question as well. This is also important. Keats thinks of beauty, move away the pall from our darkened spirits. Explain. So this we'll explain this. So in A Thing of Beauty, Keats asserts that things of beauty make us feel hopeful and peaceful, right? They uplift a person's spirits and make them realize the importance of little things. He says that it is something of beauty that provides joy forever. Then poet lists some things that are source of beauty. He says the sun, the moon, beautiful flowers, young trees are all things of beauty. So these are the things of beauty. The sun, the moon, beautiful flowers, young trees are all things of beauty. The poet says that there's so much grief, there's so much of pall, there's so much of sadness on this earth that the life would become impossible without anything of beauty. He compares the things of beauty with an endless fountain of immortal drink, pouring unto us from the heavens brink. In this way, the poet underlines the fact that we should preserve and take care of things, of the things of beauty. He says that trials and tribulations of life spread. So trials and tribulations, that means difficulties of life. They sort of spread the pall of despondence. So they spread sadness because of the trials, because of the struggles and tribulations and the problems, right? We can remove it by making life worthwhile, by enjoying the beautiful things of life bestowed upon us by nature, but we are keen on destroying them. That is the thing, right? Alright, so let's cover all the questions, all the major ones, all the important questions I'll be covering, right? So one more question and then let's just wrap it up, right? Because I know you guys also need rest, so we'll just do the important questions, right? So these are the long answer questions that I have discussed with you, right? From A Thing of Beauty by, which is a beautiful, profound poem written by John Keats, right? Remember that. So in the poem, I think justify the title. So over here you need to justify the title. Give me a moment. Let me. Over here you need to justify the title, right? So a thing of beauty. In the poem A Thing of Beauty, the poet says that a thing of beauty is a joy forever. He compares a thing of beauty with a bar where we can enjoy sweet sleep. He says that a beautiful thing will never pass into nothingness, that a beautiful thing will be everlasting, will never pass into nothingness, and that its loveliness will always increase, its loveliness will only increase with time, right? He goes on to say that there's so much grief and sadness on this earth that we sustain, that there is so much grief and that there's so much of sadness and agony on this planet, right, on this earth, that we can sustain our life only because of the things of beauty, that we can actually sustain life because of the things of beauty, right? Then he compares the things of beauty with an endless fountain of immortal drink. So he compares the things of beauty with an endless fountain of immortal drink pouring unto us from the heaven's brink. In this way, the poet underlines the fact that we should preserve and take care of the things of beauty, and that they are not just important for us but also for the coming generations. So that we should preserve, we should we should take care of the things of beauty, and that they are not just important for us but for the coming generations also. So we have not merely inherited this earth, we have borrowed it from our children, right? That gives. Hence the poem entirely focuses on the things of beauty and has a justified. So hence, the poem entirely focuses on the things of beauty and has a justified title. Right? Clear? So with this, I would like to come to the end of the session, and having said that, so with this, I would like to come to the end of the session. Hope you liked it. If you liked it, please like my channel, give it a thumbs up, and do share it with your friends. Sharing is caring, so you'll benefit, they will benefit, everyone will benefit, I will benefit, you will benefit, we all will benefit, right? So till then, keep learning, keep on learning, keep on just stay relaxed, stay chill, be chill, right? And this is Sukriti Joshi, ma'am, your very own educator, teacher, philosopher, guide, mentor, teacher, preacher, guru, one and all. And this is the one-stop destination and the only destination for all of us to come together, to learn together, to grow together, to evolve together, and to learn together, right? Bye-bye. Namaste. Namaste. Radhe Radhe, Jai Shri Krishna.